So hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, wherever you are in the world. And if you've been celebrating Eid Mubarak, I hope you've had a very good time and have celebrated appropriately. My name's Matt Payne. I'm joined in the studio by the one and only Professor Emma Martin, with lots of letters after it that I can't ever remember, for my ever undying shame. Hi, Emma.
Hello. And what a welcome today. It is Sunday. It is qualifier 2 for the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. What are you looking forward to today, Matt?
I'm looking forward to seeing how much I ache after getting back on the bike after 5 months. Thank you, everybody who has messaged and said it's great to see you back on the bike. Fortunately for me, I chose a flat route to ride, unlike the riders in today's race here on the Sunday Race Club.
Yes, Australia is where the women are today on the outer loop course, and you can see the climb comes pretty much halfway into the race today. So the first 15.3 kilometres of the race today, fairly rolling, with the Sydney sprint coming at 4.2 kilometres. Then the Canberra climb, it's 5.4 kilometres with an average gradient of 7.6%. Now it does kick and there are steps, the first at 13% and the steepest section coming towards the top of the climb, and they need to be there or thereabouts at the top of the climb, because the 14.3 kilometre run to the finish line is going to be fast, it's going to be furious, and it could possibly end in a sprint today.
Well, it'd be really interesting. One of the key things that I noticed when I got back on the bike was that when we got to the top of a hill and we were out, going over the top was really where the distance was made when I got dropped, because I did get dropped lots. But there's a very short section on the top of the climb here in Outer Loop, and that's going to be really telling. Yeah. We're going to see whether one of our riders is going to get dropped, whether any of our drivers get dropped, or whether everybody gets dropped and we get a solo run in to the line. All 4 categories lined up. Category 1 in yellow, 2 in green, 3 in blue, and Category 4 in red will be our first starters. They're on 1 minute to race starts, and they will be the first set of riders away, 5 minutes between each of our categories. Emma, we've got a huge race field here. We've got the Petit Four squad with Nikki Lloyd and Simone Francis in here, who are regularly right up there. But huge race field across all categories, and Category 4, another big one.
Yeah, we do now. Just to note, Al Mansouri has gone up to Category 3. So last week's winner, not on the start sheets of Category 4 today for obvious reasons. We'll see her in the next category, but Hyde is here. Narvaez, Kirchner, Elos, Perry, De Silva, Hamilton, Hopkins, Smithson back in the mix. Myra Madeira is here. Sarasuk and Al-Kabi, alongside a number of other women. Georgia Perry took the win last time we were here. So really looking forward to watching this today.
So the riders lined up to go. Will it be Perry? She was 4th last week. Will she be able to take top spot this time? She's shown her form on this course. We head out from the banners now, adorned by our Eid banners here in Australia. Going past those UCI banners and going to be going into the left-hand turn. Now, one of the key parts of this course is the bump that is coming up. This is a bump of a magnitude that would see me off the back, would see lots of people in the red zone. It is a very quick kick and climb if you are on form. If you are suffering, it's one of those things, if you're going well, this is easy, this is real fun. If it's not, if you are having a hard time, it's where you will get distance, and it is really, really tough. So time to make sure that you're in that pack. Now, we've already got one rider distanced here in the Category 4 off the back as we watch Katrina May Ruby on the climb, but it looks like all of the big kickers in there. Good to see Christine Hamilton in the mix. Looks like Kirsten Hamilton, who's 5th last week, going to be right up on the front here. She's pushing hard into this climb. She's making it tough from the word go, and we are seeing incredibly aggressive racing across all categories, both the men's and women's races.
The size of the race fields now, Matt, are really lending themselves to aggressive starts, but also really focused attack points in races to try and break the size of the group. And this particular part of this course, early on, I know, but it really is a key part of this course to make that group smaller. Now, 31 riders on the start sheets today in Category 4. That's a huge number of racers today for this race course. And you can see the stretch on the group already, really taking its toll, that attack from Hamilton early on.
Now, Hamilton's attack has pushed it, opened the group up over the top. The dynamics are such that as the front riders go over, they will speed up with the effects of gravity starting to pull them down this slope on the far side. That will increase any gaps, and we're starting to see a bit of a split opening up. We're starting to see daylight between the front group and the back group, and you can see it increasing on the left-hand side of your screen as the riders go over the top and they start to go down the other side. Now, I am going to put in a quick rider here. Apologies if I get squeaky at any time today, but I discovered parts of my lungs yesterday that I didn't know that I have for a while. So apologies if I sound like Mickey Mouse on laughing gas at any point in time. I'm hoping it's not going to be the case because I'm not usually the squeaky one of the two.
Oh, that was a challenge, wasn't it? So
yes,
my
it was.
name is Emma Martin. Anyway, Alisa Kirchner is just off the back of the group here, and you can see she's got a little bit of work to do to close that down. 12 riders clear. Kirchner 3 seconds back. Narvaez now, interestingly, 5 seconds back. Now, she's a really strong rider, so I would expect Cynthia Narvaez to close that 5-second gap and try and get back on. She may well pick Kirchner up on the way. But at the moment, the damage has been done and 12 riders now clear in Category 4. Early break map. And this course really does it. You've got to be warmed up and you've got to pay attention at the start.
So being warmed up critical, making sure that everything is functioning, heart, legs, lungs, that you're fueled up, you're ready to go, that you hit the peak at the right time. And it's not for the start out of the pen so much as that climb. Now, Category 4, our first group of riders away, already showing the damage that can be done here, and we are seeing that now. If you're wondering how we know how many groups, if you look at the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see that there is a circular radar type of view. The center of that screen, the point at which it revolves around, is where the riders are that we're watching on our screens. And as you can see behind that, it is dot to dot. We've got riders distance very quickly. Now, there's a long run from here to the start of the climb, 15.3k in total. We've already covered 2.3, so by my maths, that's 13k running. But we do have some rises. We have a bigger drop down to the tunnel, the underwater tunnel, a climb out from that. So it's not easy to get back in touch. The pattern has been set early. We have got a well and truly fractured field in Category 4. In Category 3, let's see who's going to be able to take this on. Now, we've got a real mix of riders. Maniac's regular Rosalina Barragan in there, Golden Light from Team Golden Light from the UAE, of course. But another big field.
Yeah, so Almansori coming up from Category 4. Herrero, our Category 3 winner last week, moving up to Category 2. But 32 riders on the start sheets today in Category 3 wearing those blue jerseys. Down in that start pen, new rider on the start sheets today, Holly Bergin joining us. She's in that pack. She's out of the start pen with the rest of the riders today in Category 3. It's another big race field. Now let's take a look and see what this early hill does to this group.
I think one of the riders there that you mentioned, Holly Bergen, we're going to be really interested to see. She's a rider we know very well, regular rider on some of the events that we've organised and a regular contributor to esports. We're going to be really interested to see how she gets on because she's an experienced rider but relatively new to the platform. I'm very new to racing. This is her first race. No pressure whatsoever. Holly, however, one rider who we know is going to be really strong here, Rebecca Johnson. She is somebody that you just can't take your eye off. We've been watching a lot of racing here at Full Speed events where we're going to be commentating on it in the future. We'll tell you a bit about those, no doubt, at some point a little bit later on. But what you see there are always key riders in any discipline that you cannot take your eye off. Rebecca Johnson is one.
Particularly she's climbing
on here. Yeah, she's such a strong rider on the climb, and I think we're going to see another move. Now, at the moment, it's Bergin who's on the front here. New riders tend to over-race rather than be conservative on their first race because they don't know how hard to go.
Well, that's it. And you don't know the quality of the competition. You don't know the dynamics of racing on the Sunday Race Club. And you have all these things to learn. You've got to learn how to race on the platform because the dynamics are different. Rebecca Johnson, who we've spoken about, she knows now how to race on this platform because she's been here for a fair few months now and she's absolutely got it dialed. But Rebecca, I'm sure, will tell you it took her some time to learn and understand the platform, to get into the groove of the Sunday Race Cup. I like that idea, the groove of the Sunday Race Cup. And she's really started to nail her own specialisms on the Sunday Race Cup. And every rider who joins has to have that period of discovery, that period of exploration to try and work out what is happening and how this works for them. And take a look at that, Matt. That is dangerous in category 3 as well.
Category 3 going over the top. You saw it go over the summit. We go into that descent. It's not a huge difference, but the gap opens again. Not as decisive, I don't think, at this stage, but it has occurred. Now, the gaps have formed, and they formed early in category 4. You can see Lisa Hopkins taking the fastest time through the sprint not counting for anything other than bragging rights, which of course are important. But this group have extended the lead to 17 seconds now. So that gap is going out. One thing I think was really noticeable going over the top there, when that gap opened and it broke, you were talking there about knowing exactly how hard you need to go, knowing exactly how hard and that how much pressure is put on. Because it is so competitive, these fine margins that we see the differences. I mean, we're talking 6 seconds separating first and second place in category 3. Last time out between first and second, I think it was 13 seconds between El Mansouri and Silvestro. We're not talking a huge amount. That's at the top of a massive climb.
Yeah, it is indeed, and you're right. And particularly the gap at the top of a climb being really important, Matt, because the momentum and the push on the downhill slopes can stretch that gap really, really quickly if you are not on the ball. You really need to understand how to close a gap, and practicing how to close a gap. You can get on to MyWhoosh and you can ride standard. Just get on, practice. Think about different ways and techniques and just try them out.
Get on the riders. There's lots of riders going out, and always good to see people out and on board. Now, as the riders start to make their way around the course in categories 4 and 3, we're in with category 2. Category 2, a great set of riders in here in category 2. Emma, when you were colouring in... being a commentator is a great excuse to colour in lots of different things. You were colouring in category 2. I noticed that there wasn't much white sheets of paper, white paper left on there because most of the riders had a colour beside them.
Category 2 for me. 30 riders on the start sheet today in category 2, and I tell you, there must be 25 riders on that start sheet today who could finish in the top 5.
Well, we'll run through those riders in a moment. We're just in with Stefania Sanchez. Remember, category 2 are our penultimate set of riders to go away. We will have just category 1 left waiting in the pens. Category 4 out through Sydney and through the Sydney Sprint. Category 3 are going to go just in front of the riders and turn right. But category 2 now are away. They're on the boardwalk. They're going to take the right-hand turn. They head towards the archway, and they're actually going to see some of the category 3 field coming from their right and turning underneath the tunnel. They're going to turn left, and they know they're going into the climb. Molly Weston, the rider we're following, and Weston already with that heart rate up here, which is really, really key. And they will have seen the damage that's being done, because when you're in the pens, you can see on your radar screen whether the race route is braking, whether those groups that have gone out are fracturing, particularly on this course here, because on the outer loop, because we have almost like a start loop like you might get in XCO or XCC in mountain biking, you get that start loop heading out. This start loop basically allows you to see what's happened, and they will know there have been gaps opening. And that's not if they're not watching the feed. So if you are watching, thank you very much. Do appreciate it. Give it a subscribe, like, tick. More information you can get, the better. And that is really key. So lots of breaking up in category 4. Category 3 going the same way. What's going to happen on category 2? We've got an attack on the front already, but this is the early part here. We are at 3.9. Now going over 4, we're going to head to 5%. It is kicking in here. Vittori, McAlpine, Tacona, Sanchez all in here, and they are all strong climbers.
They are indeed. And interesting to see Kristen White pushing on one of our newer riders to the Sunday Race Club. But Sarah Carolus was the rider who won on this course in March. And what's really interesting, Matt, we've actually raced the outer loop, or should I say the women have raced the outer loop in January, February and March. Now Qualifier 2 in April. Daniel was second, Montgomery was third, and Walkenhurst was fifth in that March race. All of them on the start sheets today. Anna Embring took the win last week. I think she's on form at the moment.
I would agree with that. Anna Embring is clearly on form, and she took that win. It was close last week on the course with the climb at the end, but this is a different beast with the climb in the middle, isn't it?
It is indeed, and this course, particularly the climb at the start, the climb in the middle, and then that long run to the finish. What's really interesting here, Matt, is we've just got one rider distance in Category 2. I said there was strength and depth in this race field, and they seem to agree with me.
I think the legs are doing the talking, and they are agreeing because they are close together. There are very minimal differences in that Category 2 field. I think as they go through, remember, of course, that the category boundaries are dynamic. They do move, and they are based on giving us a basically very similar sized field in each of our categories. So that does mean that some of our riders yo-yo around those boundaries. But our Category 2 women's race field is very, very close. It shows you just how strong they are. And they're able to respond. I think the other thing is, the further through the categories you go, into Category 2 and into Category 1, the more conservative a rider can be. They don't use, because they're more experienced generally, and this is a really big sweeping generalization, they can generally use less energy. They're less profligate with it. Hey, that's a word for the day. Ooh. They are less likely to burn energy unnecessarily, and they are more likely to use it smart. I mean, look at Emily Mabbin. When we saw Emily Mabbin first racing on the MyWhoosh Championship, she was sprinting, but look at her now. That is a great bike position. Yeah. And
but the concentration was there, I'll tell you.
The focus and the solidity of her on the bike.
This particular race course, you need to be so focused and so concentrated early on because of the nature of this course. And that pack, as I said, Category 2, there are probably 90% of that race field thinking they can top 3 today.
So let's see if Category 1 can match the concentration of Category 2. There are yellow jersey riders. Now we have the Adblock International team with us there, truly international, with Lisa Hermansson from Sweden, Maria Holcroft from the United Kingdom, and Nelly Larsson from Sweden. Up against Feto Skia, so from Poland, Joanna Kalman from Italy. We've got Roberta Personi, Celine Colombi, and Sophie Giovanni. And from Australia, Vicky Whitelaw. That is a real who's who in terms of team riders, but we've got some very strong individual riders. Now, we're going to run through our Category 1 as they make their way out from the pens in a little bit more detail here because we have such a strong and talented race field.
We do indeed, and it's going to be really interesting to see who comes top of the tree today. Well, Category 1 are go. They are up and out of the start pen for qualifier number 2 in April. This is the Sunday Race Club. We're on MyWhoosh, and well, the legs are definitely going to do the talking today in Category 1 as they come out of the boardwalk. They take the left-hand turn, and the next thing they're going to see when they swing round the corner at the bottom of this road is going to be that short kicker climb.
It's definitely the bottom of the road. It's the bottom of this first kick, and it is the first chance we're going to see who is on form, who is attentive, who has had that warm-up. We've got one rider just a little late out of the pens. There may well have been an issue on the way through, and of course that is one of the things. Just like lots of other disciplines, we see mechanicals, we see issues, and we are in a technological world, and so therefore your connection between your turbo train and your power meter, 2 required, of course, on the Sunday Race Club, is going to make a difference.
It is, and don't look over this side of the studio because I had a power cut riding this week.
You did indeed.
I did.
And you weren't plugged into the studio either. Which
no,
was
I wasn't.
Well,
I wasn't.
And I was
leading the ride.
Yeah. So if Emma was smart enough to have been plugged into the studio at that point in time. I'm not saying who set the tech up. Sorry. But if the studio actually here, we can survive the power disappearing, we can survive the internet disappearing, we can do all sorts of ways of linking in. Unfortunately, Emma's connected to none of those, so her ride was somewhat interrupted. Now, Nellie Larson in this pack, she'll be looking to make sure that she's not interrupted in this. Really good to see somebody who's got a pain cave, which is full of boxes of bike kit and tyres hung on the wall.
Look at that.
And lots of different types. So mountain bike tyres there, definitely in the background that we can see there. And Nelly, clearly a multidisciplinary athlete. Now, our riders in here, Emma, take us through this race field, because I know it's a who's who of race winners, basically. And it is a multinational field from Iran to the United States, Colombia, Switzerland, Germany, Belgium, Australia, Sweden, you name Finland. We're all over the globe.
We are.
But these riders, they could all win. Stephanie Sidlick at the moment, she's on the front.
Yeah, so Sidlick back in the mix today. One of the other riders back with us who has been away for a little while, Jacinia Menendez. Emily Nyquist is back in the mix. We saw her join last month for the first time, so great to have her back as well. But 25 riders on the start sheets today in Category 1. Emma Belforth, Mika Soderstrom, who was 5th last week. Koinstinen was 2nd on this course in March. Merle Bruni, 2nd last week. 1st on this course when we raced it in March in 57 minutes and 35 seconds. It was a close race that week because she was racing Koinstinen, and I think it was something like 0.06 of a second to be precise. Though she took the win by. So, as I mentioned earlier, there's a high likelihood that this could come down to a sprint. And with Lou Bates here, Kristen Kolczynski, Catherine Fuhr, all on the start sheets. Van Hove is on form at the moment as well. This is going to be a great race today.
It is, and that's across all of our race categories. We saw Category 4 furthest down the road. They're already underneath the tunnels, which means that they have gone through the Sydney Sprint over the kicker, dropped down. Category 2, well, they are on their way. They are at 5.6 kilometres. And as you can see from the course profile, top right-hand side of your screen, our riders will rise up. They will then drop down into the Great Depression. Now, we're not talking about 1930s America. We are talking about the Depression down into the undersea tunnels. The riders basically swing around this right-hand turn. They go over the bridge that they just saw in front of them, and then they start to descend. And that descent down is quick. You can't afford the gaps to go. But noticeably, Category 1 and Category 2 are tight together. They are going absolutely nowhere. No one being dropped. Very, very close attention being paid. There is, sorry, I take it back. One rider,
which we had go early in Category 2. The rest of them all in this big group, and it is such a big group, Category 2. Category 3, just our biggest category. Category 2, very, very close behind. Now, today, let me run through a few of these riders. We've seen Anna Embring, and she took the win last week. Sharon Millo is here. Lytton Mabin. Daniel Prado, Montgomery Walkenhurst. Tanya Holweiler is here today as well. Kimberly Miller, Lam Kong, who we've seen, she's made the selection into this group. Marcel Smithers, Molly Weston. Manuela is here as well. She took 2nd last week. Rosa Herrero has come up into Category 2. Sarah Lundin, Sarah Carolus. Vittori is here as well as Sanchez. Tiffany Penner, the Canadian who joined us last week and took that 4th place.
Yeah, really good. Yeah.
She is back again, and it's going to be great to see what she can do. And Wendy McAlpine is on the start sheets, and we know she can regularly pull it out the bag.
Well, let's see if those new riders can improve week on week and move the way up. Riders like Penner. We're going to see if our riders in Category 3 who are new can do exactly the same. That blue really coming across the screens here in our underwater tunnels here on MyWhoosh. Quick reminder, of course, that we now are available on MyWhoosh on Apple TV. If you've got a 4K Apple TV box, then you can download and jump on board on that. You don't need to have an iPhone, an iPad, a Android phone, PC, a MacBook, it's on iOS, it's on Windows. There are lots of ways to jump on board. Now, just in with Angel Ann Hadlock, a rider who's been with us for a long, long time when we were only available on pretty much one platform. And Angel Ann Hadlock, one of our regular riders in Category 3. Really looking forward to see what she can do. She's one of those riders who always seems to be riding and looking down, really focused on the screen there, but a regular rider outdoors. Now, we do follow Angel on social media, and we'd love to follow you on social media, whether you're in Category 1 or 4. Please do get in touch with @BikingEmma or @MattFixerPain. It really, really does help us. We can't say how much it does.
Yeah, we can't at all. And taking a look at this, there is a push coming on the front at the moment, and that's because we are in the sprint at the moment. So Lisa Hermansen pushing on here. Now, this is a Sydney sprint. It is one of our 2 sprint segments. 300 metres long, both of them today. This first one coming at 4.2 kilometres into the race. Now, Matt, they do not lead to any form of prize money, but you do get bragging rights and you do get the green skin suit, which Hermansen, take a look at that. Not only has she taken the green skin suit in Category 1, she takes the fastest time overall through all 4 categories at 26.399 seconds.
Yeah, really giving it something. Good to see Lisa Hermansen, I think, coming back into some. We saw she was absolutely flying.
I think she's been out training.
Oh, careful.
Well, I know
she's.
Well, okay, let me rephrase that. She obviously trains, but she's been out.
Something Sherlock.
Let me say this: warm weather training.
Okay. So Lisa Hermansen has been at warm weather training, which is always good. You know, just get the muscles warm. It's going to be warm here today. And there we are, Lisa, probably laughing at us, no doubt. So great to see Lisa. Lisa we saw in the studios for MyWhoosh. She's here and riding and comfortable enough to message whilst riding.
I know.
This takes some going, which is really impressive. Multitasking as well. Now, we saw Lisa in the studios at MyWhoosh on the verification. Getting that verification checked. It's a really great video, so do go back through the videos. We'll try and pop on the social media. I'm going to try and get Emma to remember this, to actually put on the show on the social media somewhere which show it was that Lisa Hermansen
we can do that.
On. So I'm loving the fact that Emma's just so confident about remembering which show it was without having to search for it. But Lisa was in the studio being verified. Now, verification is one of the key things about MyWhoosh, and it's one of the key things that I was thinking about this week. What has Matt been thinking about this week? What Matt has been thinking about this week, actually, is about verification and fair racing.
Ooh.
And racing against your peers. I had a great conversation with a rider, no names mentioned, who I was chatting with for about an hour and a half earlier on in the week. And they were in New Zealand. They were about to go to bed. And I get them up, and I just got up in the morning. And it was a really, really interesting conversation about verification. It was about fair racing and about why it is so important and how that is reflected. And one of the key things that comes from being one of the UCI disciplines and the pressure that is put on to be a fair race when you go to the World Championships. Lisa Hermansen has proven that her performances are real. She's gone to the studios. She's been checked by the team. She's physically been in the studio and done that. And I think that's one of the key things for me and one of the key drivers. And it's so important to know that you are racing on the platform. And there are hoops to jump through to get onto Sunday Race Club, but it's so worth it.
It's not just our Category 1 riders who are invited in for verification purposes. Natalia Idzik, our Category 3 rider, has also undergone the same process as Lisa Hermansen. So it's not just the elite end. I think what's really key on the Sunday Race Club is every single category jumps through the same hoops in terms of doing the power passport test, being allocated, being under scrutiny. So actually, regardless of what category you are, you know it's a fair race.
It's not just your top 3 or just random people on the way through. It's not just the elite categories. It is everybody. That's really, really important. Really good to see and fantastic. Well done to everybody who's done that so far and everybody who's on the race club. It's great to see you here on MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's always a pleasure putting words to action. And the insights that we get when we look at our riders, I absolutely think are really, really key. We can just see Linda Sarmiento in here at the moment out the saddle just on this climb. This is the climb out from the Great Depression through the aquarium and out the other side. And at the moment, at nearly 5% gradient. This is not necessarily as steep as the climb that is categorized, the Camber climb, but it's an early indicator, and we are seeing a split here,
and this
Emma.
is often the second place on this course where we do see a split. That first early kicker, then coming out of the underwater tunnels, and we're seeing a split here in Category 2. We didn't see much of a split in Category 2 in the earlier part of the race, and I think this is just 1 or 2 riders off the back here. In fact, it's a 22-second gap back to 2 or 3 riders from what I'm seeing on my screen at the moment. But that still leaves a big group of Category 2 riders going into that climb at 15.3k together at the moment. Category 1 on the left-hand side of your screen, well, it's Sidlick leading this out with Bjarhead, Holdcroft, Hermansen, Koivunen, Velt, Larsen, Menenses all in the mix there. And, well, it looks like they're just into that bottom part of the aquarium, not too far behind Category 2.
So here we go, not too far off Category 2 for the riders down the 2 and 3, but Category 4 now about to hit the climb. Now the polka dot banner signifies the start and the end of our climb segments here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. The Camber climb itself is absolutely key as we run in on this course. It is the categorized climb, and at the top there will be the award of the polka dot skin suit. Again, for bragging rights, it is there to show that you are the best climber. And of course, it doesn't count for the overall, and it won't count for our new and utterly unofficial at the moment general classification on MyWhoosh, because we have started to keep a check. We've got to say a massive thank you to Luke Alport, who's doing a lot of the work, not all of the work. He's actually got some assistants coming in as well, and the team, we're going to put a little team together to help Luke. But what is we're going to do is, if you go to our social media, that is at Biking Emma or at Matt Fix the Pain, the link is in our bio to the general classification. Now, it's utterly unofficial, but basically, if you ride every one of our qualifiers and our final, there will be an overall winner. So if you are right at the front, well, that's really easy. You get to see yourself on the screen. But if, like me, you would likely to be 101st, you're battling for 100th place, well, do you know what? You can see week in, week out where you are. And at the end of each month, you'll know whether you were overall victorious over the person just behind you.
And do you know what? That's what I really like about it, because not everybody can be on the podium, but everybody has a battle amongst their peers each week. And actually, you know, creating a list of standings week in, week out really gives you the view of, oh my gosh, I've gone up 3 places this week. I've had a really great ride. Oh, I'm absolutely certain I want to beat so-and-so who beat me last month. And I think as this progresses, it's going to be really good. Well, Rosa Herrera, congratulations to her, because this is her first race in Category 2 after winning Category 3 last week. She's got a look of concentration on her face there, and I'm not surprised. So she's doing fabulous. She is in the mix here in Category 2. 12.2 kilometres into this 35-kilometre race, and she's in the mix. I think she's going to be there for a little while longer. So fabulous to see the great work being done by her. Well, Category 4 are already on the climb. These are the leaders in Category 3. They're going to sweep round the corner and see that polka dot banner. But De Silva, Johnson, Alzat, Hadlock, Mendoza, Idzik, Bergin, all in here. So Vink is here too. Oh, this is a strong group, you know, Matt. They had 11 riders in this group last time we were with them. I think this is still around 11 riders. Idzik and Hill are also there. Well, that's it. That's the polka dot banner. That's the start of the Camber climb. Let's see how this Category 3 race goes.
This is going to be key. For me, one of the interesting things about this climb is it is 3 steps. 2 treads, 3 rises, if you want the technical carpentry terms. You might know what I spent some of the time doing this week. But the first step ramps up. It gets steeper as you go up there. Now, Apple, like Clarissa Garcia, are one of our regular riders on the Sunday race. So good to see Apple in the race here at the moment. You can see her on our screens in that MyWhoosh jersey that she won, taking part in the MyWhoosh Championships just about a year ago. And you can see Apple's performances in that. Now, Apple on there, the fan blowing. She's going to see the chasing 13 riders coming in towards her in Category 3. This pack are onto the climb, and you can see by the gradient top right-hand side of the screen that we are on that first section. Now, when we hit the climb, we're going to go up, and it's going to level, and then it's going to kick again, then it's going to level. It is going to be interesting because it is pretty brutal out there at the moment. And we are seeing an attack as they go past Apple Garcia at the moment.
Well, it's Bergen who's gone for it. Newbie Holly Bergen on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club has put a kick in here. Ella Vink is the rider responding, and so is Rebecca Johnson. Alzat is there. They've got a bit of work to do to reel her in. She's gone very early on this climb, but, well, that's commitment for you.
Well, we know that Holly Bergen is from Yorkshire. So hopefully she's got some Yorkshire grit to hang on in there. She's going to need them. Just making her way up this section. It's going to get steeper. Now, Emma, the gradient increases, doesn't it? Because at the moment we are on about 5 to 6%, but we can see it's going to increase. Yep. What does it go up to on step 1, step 2? And so on.
So step 1 does kick to 13%. It then levels out, and we've got a flat transition section before the next step, which kicks to around 12%. The final step, the third step, towards the very top of the Camber climb, 16% under their wheels. It is the steepest section of the climb before you get to the top.
And one thing that we know from this course, because when you come off the summit, you crest the summit, you go underneath the polka dot banner at the top, 14.3k to this finish line is a long way.
Yes.
And there are no major ascents on the way. There are bumps and lumps and little undulations. But if you want to be in touch, you've got to be there or thereabouts at the summit. But you don't necessarily have to be at the race lead, because having a group and a pack and the draft to sit in on such a long run-in is going to be advantageous.
I agree. And we have seen catches be made, but we've also seen riders who have gone off the front extend their lead if the group watch each other too much. The chasing group, to make the catch, have got to work together, and there cannot be too much of a gap when they crest the summit.
Well, let's see where they're going to be when they get to the summit in categories 4, 3, and 2. 3 and 2 on your screen at the moment, and category 2 are going to make their way around that turn. They're going to get onto the climb proper and go underneath the banner. We're in with German Prado, another of our regular riders in here. Great to see these riders that go underneath the Eid banner here, and they're taking this left-hand turn. They'll go underneath the archway of the castellated arch at the bridge end here, and the archway itself is in the middle of that suspension bridge that is tied off the castellated towers there. That's so you can fire arrows off the side.
You really have got a technical term, haven't you, today?
I've got technical terms for everything, but whether they're right or wrong is
well, as they go over the suspension bridge at the moment, they are about to see the gradient go up in front of them. But one of the things on this climb, and you can see on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, we've now got the leaders of Category 2 on the Camber climb, Category 3 and Category 4 already there. And that does give extra motivation, I think, to the riders coming in the later starting categories, because you've got the chase. Even though they're not in your category, the chase is there. If someone's in sight, they're in mind, and you just feel that automatic competitive drive to pull them closer to you, so you do dig in and work harder.
I like the fact that you give it in a nice term, pull them closer, whereas in my head it's like somebody in front got to beat them, got to get on the wheel, got to get past them. It's a very different mindset in some ways, and yet it's the same. I agree 100%. When you've got those riders, it makes such a difference. Category 1 at the back have the most riders to catch if they want to get to the very front of the race. And on the way through, you do get a draft. And for me, one of the key things here is where you're caught. If you're caught on one of those steep 3 sections that we were just talking about, that is not a great place to get caught, because the power to weight ratio is going to be better for a better category rider. Normally, they're going to go past you, and you can't take much draft advantage. But if you get caught on one of the the treads, one of the flat sections, you've got a chance to use that draft a little bit on the way through. Going to be really, really key.
Well, we've seen that before coming towards the latter stages of this where groups come together. But at the moment, we've got Category 1 just coming up for 13 kilometres into this race. Category 2, well, they're just coming up for 16. Category 3 leader Holly Bergin at the moment, well, she's 10 seconds up on Angel Hadlock. They are coming up for 17 kilometres into this race. And at 17.1, so just 200 metres further up the mountain, that's the leaders in Category 4. They were the first group of riders out of the start pens today. Category 4 started 5 minutes before Category 3, which started 5 minutes before Category 2, 5 minutes before Category 1. So 15 minutes separating Category 1 from our first starters today, Category 4. And it's looking like, for me, there's 7 riders in that Category 4 leading group. And well, Holly Bergin is working her way up the Camber climb, leading the race in Category 3. And she's shortly going to see Alicia Fielder, who's currently in 10th position in that Category 4 race.
Now, going to be really interesting. Watching last night the UCI Mountain Bike World Cup, coming from Brazil, global sport, and of course one of the many disciplines covered by the UCI, the XCC, the short track.
Yes.
We saw an attack by Kate Courtney.
Oh, yeah, we did.
That. Now, I'm sure, Amy, that you
I
were
was over the moon.
Were you? I thought you might be.
I'm a bit of a Kate Courtney fan.
Yes. So Kate Courtney had gone on the attack. That attack provoked what was the ultimate race-winning response. I'm not going to say what happened if you haven't watched, because please, please, please do watch it. It's really, really interesting racing. But that instigation is a bit like Holly Bergen's attack here. It's another UCI discipline. It's, part of that, the part MyWhoosh to partner for 3 years. We saw an attack. We saw the move being made. And then we saw a counter-attack. Now, that could happen to Bergin here very easily. Yeah. We could see the same here. We just seen Dorothy Gonzalez on screen, looking like she's well in this pack. She's very experienced. Would she go on the attack? I'm not so sure. But it is a place. It's one of the biggest places you can make a move and make people suffer. That's probably, for me, the target, rather than necessarily gaining time.
Well, one thing for me, I can absolutely tell you, Matt, we are going to see not just one attack, but multiple attacks from this Category 1 race field, because they are really going to have to battle each other to the top of the Camber climb if they want to break away from this group, because we've got Bjarhead, we've got Engstrom, we've got Koinsonen, Bruni, Gonzalez, Rua, Holdcroft, Montgomery, Manshandi, Cowman, Whitelaw. We know Fua is in there as well. Giovanni is there. Menendez is there. We could just keep going. The class in that Category 1 race field today, absolutely phenomenal. Now, we're also, I'm sorry, but I just have to say it.
Here we go. Are you ready?
I love
Regular
the graphic on the bottom
watchers.
left-hand corner of this screen, particularly when we get to see this. And this is a multicoloured race at the moment. Category 2, 3 and 4. All on this climb together, and Mura San Manuela at the moment on our screen. You can see the effort going in. The mouth is open, gasping the air into those lungs, and that's because she's at the front of this Category 2 race.
No, she's not. Oh, no, she's not.
Oh, no,
Tiffany
she's not.
Penner
Tiffany Penner has gone 8 seconds further up the road. This is the lead in the chase. No wonder Manuela does not want to get Penner too far up. In fact, Penner's got company up there as well, Matt,
Yeah, it's not clear cut. And this is where Emma's love of the multicolored graphic is matched by my dislike of the fact it hides it from a racing point of view. From a commentary point of view, it's great because it causes everybody loads of confusion. Don't forget, of course, Marisa Manuela was second last week. She was 1.7 of a second behind you. She was 0.182 ahead of Stroll. So next to nothing. It's so close in that category. Going to be really interesting to see. But here we go. Category 1 now coming on to climb. They're lining up. This is where it gets twitchy. Another word from yesterday's XCC. Twitchy, first race of the season in the Mountain Bike World Cup. That's in the XCO and the XCC. We've got the first round of the
XCE.
Yep.
Never to be confused with the XCC short track.
The elimination is a really fast sprint race, and we're going to be putting words to the action that's coming from Paris, the UCI Mountain Bike XC.
What a course.
It's an Eliminator World Cup. Each race takes about 45 seconds to a minute or so. It's an absolutely fast, frantic course. Please do give it a watch on the UCI YouTube channel. You catch up with Emma and myself on there, part of the UCI World Cup racing. And of course, we'll always be bringing you the Sunday Race Club as much as we can, because we absolutely love it and we love seeing our riders in action. Now, one rider who I know is going to be really strong on here, Sophie Giovanni. She is part of the Effetto Skier team. She's one of a triumvirate of talent from the Italian countries. So she's going to be going through Italy. Did you know it wasn't united for a long time? It's one of the latest countries to be united.
There you go.
Yeah. They were independent
Spot
regencies.
the history podcast buff.
Yes.
Yes. There we go.
And the man who united them has a biscuit named after him.
Well, there we go then. But no biscuits needed today, because the Effetto Skier, well, you might be fueled by biscuits. But Engström absolutely pushing on here, up and out the saddle in real life to stay in the mix of this group at the moment. Our heart rate sitting at about 173 at the moment. The cadence down, but the gradient is up 5.3% at the moment, and it's about to kick. So Velt, Van Hove, Menenzes, Fuhr, Hermansen, Bruni, Larsen, Koinsten, Engström all in the mix here. Sidlock and Whitelaw also there. Holdcroft right at the front now. Catherine Fuhr comes to the front of this group. Is this going to be a day for Catherine Fuhr? She took the win last week, but that was a very different course.
Yeah, but she can win anywhere. That's the worrying thing about Catherine Fuhr. She is right up there. But she has a teammate there in Kulczynski as well. And we can't discount either of those two, no matter what the course profile is. Now, just jumping in with the leader in Category 3. This is Holly Bergin making her way up to the climb, and she's on her way up. It's now up at nearly 12% here. She's trying to chase onto Geneva Elos at the moment. She's got a gap, but it is not definitive at this moment in time. And this is the front of the race overall. We've got Bryson Hyde. We've got two Hydes. We've got Georgina and Claudia Hyde in here. We've got Isabella Bryson. We've got Kristen Hamilton, Ellen Bogger, and Lisa Hopkins, and Jennifer Ellos are slightly distant. You can see them behind as they make the way up the climb here.
This is steep.
Yeah,
it's 12% at the moment.
It's so hard.
Seriously steep at this section.
And this group is coming together. So the leaders of Category 3 and the leaders of Category 4 are coming together. Bergin will try to move her way through here, use the draft when it goes into the green, but the pace at the moment, we're talking about, we're talking sub 15 kilometers an hour. And the key thing with that is the draft available is minimal. So when you get to a group or a rider, you're not catching them at a great time. When we get to the summit and go over the other side, that speed will pick up to 60, 70 kilometers an hour. And that is when you have a massive, massive advantage for sitting in the draft. And that is where the composition of the riders behind is going to be key. There are groups chasing a solo leader. Newbie, Holly Bergin, on the front, pushing on the climb. She's got sliding room, but
you can
surely
see the chasing group behind. I'll tell you, they are coming.
They're there.
But Bergin, I tell you what, she's gone up and over the top of the leaders in the Category 4 race, and she's continuing her push up this climb. So Bergin now leading the race, not just Category 3. She's gone past the entire Category 4
look at this group.
race field. But De Silva, Hill, Barragan, Mendoza. Is Johnson in there as well? Well, and Alzat is definitely in there.
Yep.
So this is a strong chasing group in Category 3. This is going to be a seriously good race today in Category 3. Well, I think it's going to be a cracker in all of them, because take a look what's happened in Category 1. That group who came into the bottom of the climb together, well, they are decimated. It's like someone's thrown a skittle and knocked them down, because Fuhr and Bruni Bjarhead are the three riders clear at the front. Menenzes 5 seconds back. Koinstenen, Holdcroft 9 seconds back. Oh, wow.
It's absolutely, I think a bowling ball or skittle does not do it justice. It's more like somebody pulled the pin and threw a grenade in.
No.
Because the fragments of this group are so distanced on here.
Look
they
at
don't look big on the left-hand screen, but you look at those time gaps. You know, Engstrom at 15 seconds, we saw her on our screens early on. We know she's an amazing, amazing climber, but you've got such strength in here with people like Fure. Bruni, she is on serious form at the moment. She really has got this nailed. Now, let's see if she can stay clear. Marlin Bjarhead is in here. Really good to see Marlin. Look at the focus there. Do you know what? That looks like a smile on Marlin Bjarhead's face there, and I would be smiling if I was this far up, knowing the damage that I'm doing to the riders behind. Because the more damage you can do on here, the less likely they are to pull you back. And if you've got a group, and that is the key thing for me here, we've got a key core group at the front. It's 3 riders on the front there that are looking clear. That is really, really key. Behind, you've got a 1, you've got a 2, you've got a 1, you've got a 2. They are fractured and broken, and that means that there is a great advantage for these riders in the front.
Yeah, well, the leaders in the Category 1 race just gone past Liz Smithson. If you are interested in the training programs on MyWhoosh, you can indeed log on and you can do one of the live training programs with a coach. One of the 30-minute sessions is indeed with Liz Smithson, and I'd thoroughly recommend it, having dropped in and joined Liz on that. So absolutely fantastic. The wide range of options that you can now have on MyWhoosh in terms of the type of training, not just a standard set of training programs. You can do it with a coach present, and actually it's amazing how quickly that 30 minutes went when I rode there. But there are also some live sessions with coaches as well that do come up as well.
Yeah, and that's really good because it really animates you as well as the pre-recorded ones, and it really will improve your riding. There's great ways to go ride and improve. One is to race the Sunday Race Club, and everybody says one of the best ways to improve your riding. Well, Wendy McAlpine, I'm not sure she needs that much improving. She's absolutely
she's a strong
flying.
rider.
I can't imagine it'll be all that long before Wendy McAlpine makes her way up in towards those Category 1 levels. Another multi-sport athlete who is regular on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, looking really good here, just ahead of Sarah Carolus. And look at the time gap, 8 seconds in then, 8 seconds to Lamcon. Yeah. Serena Vittori, I mean, Vittori is an absolutely class act when it goes uphill.
Well, Sarah Carolus took the win on this course last time, so interesting to see her not in that lead group, but she's looking like she's 5 seconds back on Wendy McAlpine, who's about 8 seconds back on Prado, and Prado is further up the mountain here in Category 2, and we know she's a very, very strong rider. So Sarah Carolus on our screen at the moment took the win here in March. She knows this course very well, but she also knows the strength and depth of this Category 2 race field. So Vittori and Carolus riding with Lam Kong. The 3 riders here. Dana Wagner is indeed 3 seconds back off this small group. I'm sure she's going to want to get back on here, but it is nearly 11%. Well, it is now 11% underneath their wheels. I tell you something, they are really feeling this today.
They are, and you can see that we have the leaders of Category 2, 3, and 4 all on the steep final riser of this climb. You can see that top right-hand side. There are no descents now until you go over the top and off the top of the Camber climb. This climb, the average is 7.6%, peaking out over 16% on the upper section. Category 3, 4, and 2 on that top step. A little bit further back, we've got Category 1 there on the left-hand side of your screen. They are broken and fractured here, and Bjarhead has just lost a little bit of ground to Bruni and Fua. The 1-2 of last week at the moment, they are motoring on. Yeah. If they can maintain this, the 1 and 2 of last week will improve their time standings at the front of our very unofficial GC competition. Wow. Because we add those times together, it's going to give us that positioning overall. Totally unofficial, of course, but you know what? Really looking forward to seeing where it goes. Who gives us that overall position?
Well, 1 kilometre at the moment now between the leaders in Category 1, Fur and Bruni, and our current leader on the road and currently leading the Category 3 race, Holly Bergen. Now in Bergen's race, Barragan, Hill and Vink are really close behind. Mendoza, De Silva and Alzat are also in that chasing group. So 6 riders still in the mix, chasing Bergin up the Camber climb. They haven't got long though, Matt, because there's only 550 metres now of that climb to go for Bergin.
Well, we will see. 20 seconds gap. That is going to be really good pursuit on the way down. It'll be a bit like pursuit on the track from Milton in Australia. The track on the pursuit on that has been really good to watch. Been watching a bit of the action from there, not as much as the esports. Been watching, and I was watching back some of our races here, Emma, and the racing on this climb really interesting. Tiffany Penner here.
I said she'd go well today.
Oh, do you know what? Emma's giggling away and dancing up and down in the seat here in the studios, because Tiffany Penner from Canada on her way up this climb, looking very, very strong indeed and looking good. Just about to come up and past Hyde, and Hamilton goes past Claudia Hyde at the moment. One of the two highest, Georgina and Claudia, just behind Penner. But the gap is not insurmountable to the riders behind, but the big groups are a lot well, they're further back. I'm not going to say they're a lot further back, because on this climb, distance is deceptive because it is so steep. These riders are going to make their way up and over the top of this climb. Then they're going to be into the descent and on the way down. Now, Emma, I'm going to ask you to do a prediction here.
Okay.
Now, we've raced this, you said, in January and February and March.
Yes.
It's got quicker.
Yes.
Every time.
Yes.
1 hour and 1 in January, 1 hour dead pretty much in February, 57.5 minutes in March. Will it be quicker today?
Well, it's a really good question. You know, Merle Bruni took the win in March, 57 minutes, 35 seconds. Fua took the win in February, 1 hour dead. Bates took the win in January in an hour and 1 minute.
It's got quicker because we've got more faster women.
Exactly. I'll tell you the reason it has got quicker is because the race field in Category 1 has got stronger with more and more world-class women coming into it. And it has pushed the racing and pushed them harder to take the win. Fua is on phenomenal form at the moment, and so is Merle Bruni. So, well, I think it depends how fast that chase group are coming as to how fast they push.
Get off the fence, you're getting splinters. Come on.
How fast they push in the last 14.3 kilometres. No, I'm going to go for a 58-minute race today.
Okay. There you go. That's Emma's prediction. Let's jump in with Isabella Geraldo before Emma asks me for mine. We're in with Geraldo here in Category 3. She's a holding station here with Herrera, with the Western, with Walkenhurst, and doing a great job of holding them on board. You can see it out of the saddle here. The fan is blowing, and Geraldo at the moment out of the saddle, but she has got the leaders in Category 1 chasing hard here. Bruni, Fua really motoring the way up here. They're going to try and catch her. At the very front of the race field, it is going to be Holly Bergin. She can see the polka dot banner. She's going to get that polka dot skin suit if she can hold a position. But look what's behind. There's one rider in Category 2, which will be to her benefit. Tiffany Penner will also be intent on holding off the chasing riders behind. Bergin is going to go over the top. Will she be able to hold on with Penner on the descent? That makes two riders, but behind Bergin, 25 seconds down, we have got 5 riders chasing in Category 3, but we've also got the Category 2 chasers coming as well. This is going to be a real chase down here. They're going to have to try and pull it back. It's going to be very, very difficult to do so. Can they do that? Well, it's going to be a close run thing. 14.3 kilometers now to go. So our 2 polka dot skin suit attired riders, Holly Bergin in Category 3 and Tiffany Penner in Category 2 over the top. We await our fastest rider up the climb in Category 4 and 1, but they're not going to be long before they're there. But now the gap starts to open. The speed picks up. And this is where our race leaders really need to stretch out and use this downhill. And there is a real technique when you go over the top, Emma.
There is indeed. And not sitting back and taking that huge breath of air and going, oh, I'm over the hill, I need to brake. Actually, what you need to do...
Is that a reference to my riding yesterday?
Well, no, yeah, well, we won't go there.
It takes us forever.
But actually really pushing on that first section of the downhill to get the momentum rolling, to get your bike up to speed, to get the real push on the kilometers per hour, because that will just make you travel down the descent faster than if you take that big gap now. Talking about going faster, Merle Bruni is the rider who's pushed on here. She's distanced Catherine Fua.
I know, just say that again.
She's distanced Catherine Fua.
Yeah.
Now, this is the reverse of last week. Last week, Fua took first place. Bruni took second. Bruni now pushing on here. Fua 10 seconds back. Fantastic riding by Bruni here. She's working her way up the mountain. I'm taking a little look here. She's at 20.5 kilometers. She's got 200 meters left to go. Yep, the polka dot banner is up there. She can see it in her sights. She digs in a little bit deeper. 6.5 watts per kilo I just saw come from her. That's citing the polka dot. Blah, blah, blah.
Polka dot banner, even.
The polka dot banner.
That
will do for your motivation. So Bruni wants to go over the top first. Fua now 18 seconds back.
She's hemorrhaging time.
I know. And, well, maybe this is tactics because Bruni's going to be out there on her own. Does Fua think she's going to be able to make the catch in the 14.3 kilometre run to the finish? Or is she happy to let Bruni go today?
It's how many riders are behind Fua? Because there is a big group coming.
There is a big
group
coming.
And that big pack. And Fua has ridden this more often than Bruni overall, but they're both experienced on this course. They are both,
and they've both
proven
had
winners.
Wins on this course.
Yeah. But yeah, there are last two
Well, do you know
winners.
what I think? I think Merle Bruni heard me say 58 minutes and she's gone, nope, we're doing 4:57.
Oh, please, Merle, come on. Please, please, please prove ever wrong. Not that I was going to bet on you, honest much, Gov. But here we go. Over the top goes Fua. Now can Catherine Fua make that time gap back? You can see the distances between these riders. This is going to be very, very interesting. Descent and pursuit at the moment.
Holcroft is the rider further back down. In fact,
Holcroft
it's not just
gang.
Holcroft. 1,
Look at
2,
this.
3, 4, 5. 5. Holcroft, Velt, Van Hove, Bjarhead, and Sidlick. Oh my goodness. In fact, that is 6 riders there because Jacina Menendez is on the back of that group as well. Now, that is dangerous, Matt, because those 6 riders, if they can work together, they can make the catch for Fua, and then there's 7 riders, and then it's anybody's game. But can Bruni and Fua stay clear of 6 riders? Can these 6 riders work together? Or is that competitive edge going to make them look at each other?
It could be that it's actually counterproductive, but Merle Bruni's attack that took it over the top 24 seconds clear, nearly 25 seconds clear, might have been counterproductive because it may well be that if the Bruni and Fua were together, they have more of a chance of holding off Velt, Bjarhead, Van Hove, Holcroft, Sidlick, Menendez, and Co. as they went over the top. They're your chasing group. So Velt, Bjarhead, Van Hove, Holcroft, Sidlick, Menendez. 6 riders. Koistonen, not that far behind, but probably too far given the volume of riders chasing on. Now, on the descent, we can see Tiffany Penner has got company in the shape of Ella Vink. They are also on the way down and are closing in on Holly Bergin. Ella Vink in a sprint versus Bergin. That could be very interesting, but they've only got 7 seconds on Alzat, on Barragan, on Prado, on that big chase impact behind. This is so tough, and they are nearly at the bottom of the descent. This could really pay off, and I think Bergin's realised she's going to get caught. Look at that, 1.3, 1.7.
She needs to make sure she jumps straight in that group, so Bergin needing to jump into the group now as Vink comes up. Penner is there as well. Now, this is going to be really interesting, because are we going to see...
It's now 3, isn't it?
Well, are we going to see this group form? Because I think Barragan, Hill, Prado from Cat 2, Alzat, Mendoza could all come together and we could end up with a big Cat 3, Cat 2 group at the front of this race. And then it is about who can tuck in, who can stay in, and what happens at the finish.
Penner there just goes through on a pace, tapping away. Vink is with her here. And Vink now leading the race, leading at category 3, but she's got Bergin there. The 2 polka dot skin suits differentiated by the number on the back of the rider. That's their category. So you can see our two Category 3 riders side by side. Holly Bergin currently just dancing away like she does down the side of the canal towpath to work every day, trying not to fall in. At the moment, zigzagging side to side, but she's got to get onto the wheels of Penna. Get distance now, you're going to be in trouble. 7 seconds back, Prado, Hill, Alzette, Barragan, and that chasing group of riders. And there's another rider about another 8-10 seconds behind them. There are leaders on the road. They're the Category 3 and Category 2 leaders. Category 4 leaders are not that far behind, actually, at the moment. And Category 4, again, another tough race in that as well. But this lead on the race is going over one of the bumps here. And this is where the gaps can open. This should favour Penna, because she is the Category 2 rider rather than the Category 3 rider. And this is a dangerous moment, because if one of the Category 3 riders goes with the Category 2 rider and one gets left behind, this is where that gap can open.
But you've also got to be careful, because if you're a Category 3 rider trying to go with Tiffany Penna, she's the next category above for a reason, and that's because she's got a stronger power base. And you've got to be really careful that by going with Penna, you don't blow. I mean, they're 27 kilometres into a 35-kilometre race. There's still quite some distance. You could still push too hard and blow. So you really need to be careful. You need to race within your own category. That is what is the point here. You know, Vink and Bergin are racing each other. They are not racing Penna.
They are, but you've got to take into account what's going on around you. The draft, the availability of riders, the volume of riders in them, and that's going to make a difference. Now, going back to Category 1, Catherine Fua is 35 seconds down, and at the moment, she's 20 seconds ahead of the nearest rider behind it in Category 1. Merle Bruni has pushed. She's committed here. A case of alia jecta est, the phrase used when the Rubicon was crossed and the die was cast. There's some Latin for you as they came in. And so we were having a right old history.
We are.
And that is when you couldn't take an army across the Rubicon River, otherwise you were considered to be in the middle of a civil war. We've got a real war raging in Category 1 here, and they are absolutely fine. Merle Bruni leading this out. She has indeed cast the dice. She's put the dice down. She's tumbled them. She's going to hope she comes up with a winning score here, but she's got to keep pushing. She's committed to this, and I think that is shown in the numbers that she's putting out. She really is working hard.
Yeah,
I think Catherine Fua here is thinking about letting the group behind get a little bit closer, taking a little bit more rest here, knowing that she's got Holcroft there. And if Holcroft comes across, that is going to help. Holcroft riding for the Ablock team could well be that she's going to be right in that mix. Larson and Hermansen are teammates, I think, a little bit distanced. Interesting, Amelia Velt, a rider who we know is very strong, has been improving. Right in the mix there. She's not that far behind.
Well, I think she likes this course. She was 4th on this course in March. So this is obviously a course that suits her. And I think different courses suit different riders. If it's going to end in a climb, my money's normally on Catherine Fua.
If it ends in a sprint,
not that I ever bet with anything other than matchsticks.
You don't bet with anything. You're
too right.
You're way. It's not in your personality, is it, as a professor, not to bet?
No.
Statistics and maths is fine.
No. Anyway, so whilst Matt is talking in the corner, Holcroft is closing down the gap to Fua with Velt, and Menendez is not far behind either. It's Molly Weston, who's the Category 2 rider in the mix, desperately trying to hold on to the wheels as they just go up this little ramp at the moment. But Fua is coming back now. Fua, Holdcroft, Menendez would be a phenomenal group. There would be a group of 4 Category 1 riders in the chase. Let's remember, top 5 in the prize money today. Van Hove is the rider who would be missing out. She's 10 seconds further back from the group. Can she make the catch? She's got 10 seconds to get to this group, but this group have 7 seconds to get to Fua.
Absolutely. It's so many permutations are possible here. It makes it almost impossible to work out what's going to happen. That's what we love about the Sunday Race Club, because
Yeah.
there are so many potential outcomes. We've got so many strong riders in all of our race categories. I must thank everybody who races. It does make our life a lot of fun putting words to the action here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We have the pleasure of covering lots of different disciplines. I'm going to be bringing, as Emma said, the mountain bike XCE. Got the BMX coming up from Tulsa on the UCI YouTube channel. And lots of different action going to be heading your way. But, of course, the Sunday Race Club is the one where week in, week out, every single week, the best riders in the world battling out to take away that prize money. There's not just prize money once or twice a year. It's every single week. And remember, when we get to the end of the month, the team competition will take effect as well. We would really, really love you to get those team names in and make sure that you know who you're racing for. Really critical, because, of course, in Category 1, it's 50,000 UAD, an absolutely immense sum.
It is indeed. And you know the other
UAD.
AED.
AED
Matthew?
even. Yes. Do you know what?
He's
It's only 3 letters, and I can still get 3 letters wrong.
You can, and while Matt gets his 3 letters
It's a bit like
mixed
letters
up,
after your name.
well, there you go.
AED. There you go.
It
Thank you
is
very much.
indeed AED, and Holdcroft doesn't need
There's
reminding.
50,000 of them.
Well, can we just say Holdcroft doesn't need reminding, because she has pushed on
Yep.
this group Amelia Veltz, Jacinia Menendez, now in the mix with Catherine Fuhr. So it's a 4-rider chase to Merle Bruni, who is out front in that Category 1 race. Well, out front at the head of the race at the moment. We're in with Jermaine Prado. She is chasing down Tiffany Penner, the leader in the Category 2 race. Jermaine Prado, she's a rider on form at the moment. She's recently competed in the national championships, and I think she took 2nd this year, previous winner of that race. But Tiffany Penner is the rider in her sights now as they go into the sprint section. It's the final sprint section, the Camber sprint. 31 kilometres into this 35-kilometre race. It's a 300-metre section. Is Prado going to make this catch to Penner? Well, she's putting down the power. I think this is possible.
It's really important as well to make that catch quickly, then get some rest in there. And this is what I love about these sprint sections. It gets you a snapshot window on who's going where, when, and how.
Well, I'll tell you another snapshot window in the Category 3 race. It was Bergin and Vink fighting it out on that previous time we were with them. Well, Bergin now back in the lead, and Vink, well, she's 20 seconds back. Jermaine Prado, we can see on the left-hand side of the screen at the moment, having come through into that position. Look at the effort on her face. That catch, it's taken its toll. Can she now recoup, pull back on that power, take a breath, because there's a finish line coming in around 3.3 kilometres.
So the finish line at 35 kilometres here today, after our riders will have climbed 593 metres of ascent at the moment. Our race leaders in each of our categories off the top of the mountain, off the top of the Camber climb, and heading in towards the finish line. At the moment, Merle Bruni is the rider leading Category 1, the furthest back of all of our category leaders. She has less than 5 kilometres left to go at the moment, and it's setting up for a grandstand finish. The pursuit is on, the chase is on. Nobody is secure in their positions because, of course, our riders are right on their limit. If you are solo away, you're really having to push, and the danger of going into the red and blowing up, running out of energy, is incredibly big. It's a high-risk strategy. It's a big gamble. Bruni's taken it in Category 1 on the left-hand side of your screen. You can see she is coming in to that same sprint section, the Camber sprint, 300 metres, which gives us a good indication that she's closing in on the race leaders overall. Whether she makes the catch or not to the very front of the race, I'm not so sure, because we have Prado and Penner at the moment. They are trying to stay clear of Carolus, and at the moment, Carolus is 24 seconds back, but she's in a group that has chasers in Category 3 with Hill, with Barragan, with Mendoza. This is going to be absolutely frantic run in here. They can't afford to do much finessing anybody in these groups because there are riders chasing behind en masse.
There are indeed, and Corollas took the win here in March, so she knows this finish and she knows it well. But she's 20 seconds back on Prado and Penna, two very, very strong riders. And those two riders in Category 2 now coming up with 2 kilometres to go in this race. They are at the lead of the race at the moment. Well, Category 1, Merle Bruni in 19th position on the road. The leaders in Category 3, they are in the top 10. The leaders in Category 4, well, 17th position on the road for Claudia Hyde at the moment. Kristen Hamilton, the rider, is indeed neck and neck between those two. So Claudia Hyde and Kristen Hamilton, the leader for some time in Category 4, now together on the run in as well.
So our riders all heading in towards the finish. This finish is going to be absolutely critical as they run in. Penna at the moment with Prado leading this out. They've got Embring and Corollas behind with Lamkong as well in the chase. This is going to be very tight indeed. So Penna against Prado. Prado is a regular winner on the road. She's a regular rider, a former national champion. Can she put those skills to use here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club on eSports? She could well do that, but Penna will want to take this. Penna has not had a victory so far in this category on MyWhoosh. Oh, she would dearly love to take this, but neither rider can focus too much yet on that finish because behind that gap is still holding. They are keeping them at bay at the moment, and you can see the effort written all over Jermaine Prado's face there. She's down low on the bike. Generally, we see those riders who ride multidiscipline, slightly lower, slightly more of a road-based position rather than a pure esports position, which seems to be a little bit higher. It's developing all the time. At the moment, Prado trying to push it down here with Penna behind. At the moment, the difference in momentum, they're just putting a little bit of a gap in, Emma.
And that, for me, is about riding the platform, and Prado's ridden this platform a lot longer than Penna. Penna, this is the second time we've seen her race, and let's put it this way, the second time out, she's absolutely flying. She has really been learning her craft very, very quickly on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. She really is trying to modulate her power to stay with Prado. I think she wants Prado to lead her out. Well, we're going to see what happens very shortly because there's 600 metres to go at the moment until the finish line, and it's Penna and Prado. And take a look at that. Penna's come back off the power so that she goes into P2. Prado then comes back off the power, so she goes into P2. Well, it's 400 metres, Matt.
400 metres to go, and Penna had to put a big kick to get back on that momentum. We saw 6 watts per kilo come out. She now puts another little dig in, but she won't know where this finish is compared to Prado. Prado will know this off by heart, but Penna is leading this out. The polka dot skin suit of the best climber is looking to add the yellow skin suit of the winner. Here comes the banner. This is the run for the line, and it's going to be Tiffany Penna who takes the win in Category 2 ahead of Jermaine Prado. They are your 1-2 here today. What a great ride as it came in and through. Now, behind, big battle going to develop between the riders in Category 3 as we see the lead here. Bergin has been caught and Barragan has got a timing right here. It could run close to the line. She's out of the saddle and she's kicking. Long-time leader Holly Bergin has been caught back. Barragan takes the win here in Category 3. So it's Barragan taking the win. It is going to be a big kick for the line. And I think Valentina Mendoza is going to get that from Bergin, from Hill and from Alzate. They are the riders in Category 3. What a run.
Fantastic racing in Category 2 and in Category 3, all coming down to the last 3 kilometres of this 35-kilometre race. And well, Mel Bruni has broken away from this Category 1 race field. She's into the last 700 metres of this race, and well, it's 40 plus seconds back to the chasing group in Category 1.
Now, this should be Merle Bruni's run for the finishing line. She should be the rider who can take this out. However, remember, Anything can happen here. Hopefully, it's all going to hold together. In Category 4, our Category 4 leaders, well, we've got Hamilton and Hyde together. And that is going to be a sprint out. So we're going to see Bruni come through, barring any incidents in these last few 100 meters to take the win in Category 1. And right behind will be the fight in Category 4. Then we're going to see the rest of the positions in Category 1. This is a fantastic finish to a great qualifier number 2 here in April, and a great ride by Merle Bruni. She rolled the dice. She's come up with a winning score. She's going to take away top spot here today. Merle Bruni in Category 1 here underneath the banner on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Now behind, Hyde is kicking. She's going to take this away from Hamilton. That final kick, that timing spot on for Hyde in Category 4 ahead of Hamilton. They make their way into the line, and this is the run for the line. This is a sprint in Category 1. This is going to be close now. Who's got the timing right? They come around the corner. Fua's looking good at the moment, but Menezes is side by side. It's Fua. Menezes is going to take this ahead, I think. Or is it Fua? I think Fua just rolled her on the line there. She did by 0.11 of a second. Nothing to separate these riders.
What a finish. Merle Bruni taking the win after that lone breakaway. 59 minutes, 25 seconds. Catherine Fua winning the sprint after that breakaway with Bruni early on. Menezes in 3, Holdcroft in 4, and Velt rounding out the top 5. Tiffany Penner from Prado from Kong in Category 2. Barragan from Mendoza from Bergen in Category 3. And Hyde from Hamilton so far in Category 4.
What a great race here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Don't forget, all those race results at the moment are live on the MyWhoosh.com website, mywhoosh.com/results. Make sure that you check them out. They will become unofficial and then verified when they're all checked out. We'll be adding them to the spreadsheets, and the team will be putting those in. Massive thank you to Luke and all the team doing that. And then we'll have our GC, our unofficial GC, after 2 races. Really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to next week's women's qualifiers, but don't forget, before that we have our men's race here on MyWhoosh, and this is going to be another absolute cracker. Please do make sure you join us. Emma, a great race today. If people want to catch up with you, if they want to find out the link to that GC, how do they do that?
You need to find me at biking_Emma on Instagram. Please do get in touch. Really interested to hear from you and see what you're up to when you're not at the Sunday Race Club.
Is there any time when you're not at Sunday Race Club? Well, this probably isn't for us because we watch so many of them back. Please do get in touch with you can get in touch with me at Matt Fixpay. Make sure you give at MyWhoosh a follow on Instagram, on Facebook. It's my_whoosh on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. Make sure you subscribe and watch, and tell your friends all about Sunday Race Club. We'd love to have you join us. A big thank you to the team behind the scenes who make it happen. But it's time for Emma and I to say goodbye, because it is the end of the show. Please do join us for the end of the racing. But from myself, Matt Payne, and from her, stay safe. Eid Mubarak.